Bust out your knives, your guns, and your George Foreman grills because we're about to do a new episode of Sons and Screens podcast.
Woohoo!
I, Wee-hoo! I am Faye. That is the Carnal.
Colonel.
Carnal.
Ka-ching.
Stuttering dyslexia is a thing. Or is that? I
Stuttering
don't know these
Stanley's a
words.
thing.
Stuttering Stanley. Anywho, we are back for another episode. This is episode 11. We're at 11 now of Sunscreens. We're going to review some unique, high-octane, stylized action films with Boy Kills World and what's it? Hardcore Henry. Yeah. This week is my picks. I picked these because I'm an action junkie.
I do love me some action movies.
To the people that have followed me in the past, I'm a horror fan. Horror is not my favorite genre. The action is probably my favorite genre. Not just your typical action. It's like the high stylized, fucking fancy, weird, fucking over the top popcorn flick action films that would never happen in real life.
So if it were to come to trivia between horror trivia and action movie trivia, which one do you think you would do the best at?
Horror.
I figured it was much, but
Yeah.
question number 2, sub question. Since horror won the first round of that bracket, the second round is it going to be horror trivia or wrestling trivia? This is the finals.
Because they both have a wide range of questions you can ask. Because people
They
can
do.
deep dive in horror, they can deep dive in wrestling, and I'm going to get a big old fat F when it comes to those. WWE wrestling trivia? Yes.
Okay.
Horror trivia from 1980s above? Yes. So I don't know.
That'd
How
be a
about
good
we just do
battle.
a horror wrestling trivia night and see, just against myself, and see which
I was
one
gonna say
I get more.
I would not fare well in those.
No, I can just battle myself on which ones I get the most right between the two. That'd be interesting. Do you have a favorite genre? Maybe not total genre, but subgenre.
I would say
Like I know you're a sci-fi
I
guy,
would say sci-fi. Like what all would
but
you
there's
consider
subgenres.
subgenre?
There's like galactic sci-fi or fantasy sci-fi or futuristic sci-fi maybe, or even stuff like in the past sci-fi where we go in the past but we integrate some futuristic shit.
So
Those movies exist too. So
did you say galactic sci-fi was a subgenre?
yes,
That's probably what it would be because I do enjoy the like
you like the outer
starships
space.
and the outer space stuff.
Yeah, I do
Like
too.
Lost in Space, get Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, like those are some of my favorites.
So you take that over like fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, fucking
See,
trolls and goblins and all that stuff.
I still consider Lord of the Rings more of a fantasy than sci-fi.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's not really science fiction. I mean, technically it might be, but it it feels more like an action adventure than sci-fi.
Well, it's definitely fantasy. It definitely falls under the
Absolutely
category of
fantasy,
fantasy. With wizards and trolls and shit like
right?
that. That's
But when you
definitely
get
a
when you
fantasy
get into the
realm.
subgenres, then you're starting to cross main genres.
And like Ghostbusters say, never cross the streams.
Haha.
Or do you cross the streams? I like crossing the streams myself.
I like the sword fight.
Cause like a fun horror, sci-fi, action movie, all three of those genres combined would be like the Aliens.
Correct.
It has all three of those mixed together. But I really don't care about that movie. That's weird. I,
Aliens is a fun watch. I mean,
I prefer the first one.
the first one was good.
Mhm. And I
Yeah,
like Alien Resurrection. It's all
you
right.
do or you don't.
I do.
Okay.
People hate on that, especially when she does her fucking basketball shot where she throws it behind her head.
Well, and they
She goes
just
in the
came out with the
basket.
new one. Was it Prometheus? No, not Prometheus. Prometheus was the prequel. Romulus. They just came out with that recently.
Romulus, yeah, that's good. And that was a good throwback
It
to
was.
the old ones, and then
So I think
also
was it
integrate
between
modern day
was it set between the first and the second one, or the second and the third one? I forget.
between the first and second one.
Okay.
And that was Fede Alvarez, who I that's a director I support because he did the Evil Dead remake.
Mm,
He did Don't Breathe.
those are good.
Yeah. And those are the only two that I can think of that he did. But
That's
but both of those were fucking aces in the hole for me. So
when we were talking on here a minute ago before we started. You mentioned that you had some breaking news to give out.
like 37 seconds before we hit record, we got the news that boxing legend and home cookware legend George Foreman has passed away at the age of 76.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. That motherfucker, man. Like he won the heavyweight title in his 40s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big boxing fan, so you know. And he's also somebody that fought Muhammad Ali too.
Mm-hmm.
Rumble in the Jungle, you know.
Yep.
And dude's a legend, and he named all of his kids George. And he had like 7 of them.
George 1, George 2, George.
Yeah.
George,
So
get in here.
if all the things I just listed, with legendary boxer in multiple generations, legendary home cookware with his George Foreman grill,
Mm-hmm.
and naming all of his kids George is not legendary status, then I don't know what a fucking legend is. Because that is legendary status.
He is 100% a legend.
Absolutely. When you hear the name George Foreman, though, what do you think of? Do you think of the grill? Do you think of boxing? Do you think of all of his kids?
Well, if I hear the name George Foreman, the first thing I think of is boxer. But I would understand why a lot of people that are probably in their early 30s probably would only think of him as the grill.
Yeah. Which, hey, kudos to him because his name wouldn't have continued on if it wasn't for the George Foreman grill. And
Mm-hmm.
people that don't watch boxing go, well, who the fuck is this George Foreman guy? And they look and be like, well, he was a badass motherfucker in his day.
Yeah.
And then turns out to be the biggest, cuddliest teddy bear. Did you see his? They did a movie about his life last year or the year before. Did you see that?
So was it a documentary, or was it like an
No, it's a
autobiography?
movie. It's an actual movie. It's a
So like a dramatized.
yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but because it flopped in the box office, unfortunately.
That's disappointing. So I didn't even know about it, so I didn't see it.
I think it's on Netflix right now. It was solid. Apparently, he was a little prick when he was a kid. Well, he wasn't a prick, but when people were being pricks to him, he would just be big George Foreman and go knock him the fuck out.
Right? Don't bite off more than you can chew, son.
Right. Right.
You're
But yeah,
teasing a gorilla in the monkey cage.
yeah, me being a fan of both the boxing and the fucking grill, because that grill was awesome.
That grill is still awesome. Like you just
Still awesome.
turn it on,
And it
put a
was
burger on it, and 10 minutes later you got a great tasting burger.
thing is, it was the most simple concept, but it took us that long to figure out that simple concept to just put a grill on an axis
Mm-hmm.
and let the grease drain off of
Let the
it.
grease drain. Yeah.
I
And I mean, for those of you that have not used a George Foreman grill, there's a lot of grease that comes off of a burger. I mean, it depends on what your ratio is. I tend to buy the 93/7, so it doesn't take quite as much off. But if you're getting that 70/30 or the 85/15 or the 80/20, there's a lot of grease coming off of there.
Somebody knows his George Foreman grills.
No, I was
The
talking
thing
about
is,
I was talking about the meat. I know my meat.
See, I don't know my meat. I just fucking eat it and beat it. But
Yeah, you do.
but with that George Foreman grill though, yeah, you were cleaning the shit out of that fucking grease tray because it was
Hmm.
filling up fast all the fucking time.
Yep.
But so yeah, that's a little heartbreaking to me. So that was stunning news because I'm a big George Foreman fan. So R.I.P.
That is
sir.
disappointing.
I
So,
just watched him on an episode of Home Improvement.
Arr?
Uh?
Well, I will put my beer out first, just because I'm running a little low on my beer stash for random beers. But
Gotcha.
mine, since we did action movie, I mean, there was other things I was hoping to be able to hold this out for, but I'm running low, so this is the closest thing I could come up with. Called In Honor of Extortion 17.
Distortion 17.
So it's obviously it's got some military ties apparently somehow, but it's a wheat India Pale Ale. Let's see, we got.
I was trying to get the connection there, so it's a military theme, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it's a military helicopter, so and it's saying in
Oh.
honor of Extortion 17. So I'm assuming Extortion 17 is the name of a squad somewhere.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
this is a Torn Label Brewing Company product. We are a 6.9% alcohol by volume. Oh, I'm going to assume that it is from Kansas City because it says East Crossroads KCMO, which would lead me to believe Kansas City, Missouri. Oh, there you go.
City. Nice enunciation on the T there.
Brewing Company LLC, Kansas City, Missouri. There you go. So that's my beer. This splurged on my keyboard.
You mean splooged.
Whatever you want to call it.
We'll go R rated. Ah, there's a moth in here. Got him.
Squirrel.
Got him. Eat your heart out, Miyagi. And it has nothing to do with the action theme or theme to any of the movies. Instead, we are in the middle of March Madness. The good old
We are.
basketball, you know. As of
Which
at the end of this recording. Oh yeah, you go. Did you go to the
I say
game?
sorry. Speaking of March Madness, I was at the round one games in Wichita.
No, it's just I already opened it, but it's called Buzzer Beater, and it's literally a basketball themed fucking.
Was that a sumo guy?
No, it's just two people butt fucking each other while they're trying to get.
Oh, they're trying to hold down.
Slam.
It's like the Space Jam scene where Michael Jordan's getting
Yeah,
held
where he
down by the
stretches them on.
Monstars.
Because everybody's a tune in Toonland or whatever the fuck he
Right.
says. Yeah. And now you want to tell me? Yeah, okay. But this is from Prairie Artesian Ales. It is a sour ale with natural flavors. It doesn't even tell me the flavors. It just says it's a sour ale with natural flavors.
All right.
So let's see.
Well, so my initial thought on my beer was not great because it is a hoppy beer again. Because apparently I suck at picking not hoppy beers, but it is growing on me a little bit. It's a wheat style, so it's not bad.
Nice. Apparently, I'm the other way where I have nothing but flavored fucking beers that I fucking purchased.
Right.
And this, I can see why they didn't list the flavors because it's just fucking sour. I can't really
Well, that's what sour beers are
pinpoint
for.
it. But usually you can pinpoint like the hint of flavor they're trying to go for, you know. And you give me a
flavor,
sour watermelon candy and you give me a sour grape candy and I can tell you the difference.
the flavor they were going for was sour.
It's a buzzer beater and it's buzzing the shit out of my dick. I don't know. But right now I'm gonna bust out the slate because I also want to show what I did this week on the slate.
Well, you got to show the slate every week now because it was a gift, so now you have to show it every week.
Yeah, I know. So of course it's episode 11. Take one. I did a weird. It's supposed to be a decapitated head and blood. Doesn't really pull off that way.
I
But
thought it was a body, like a torso. So like now that it's closer, I see the blood pool, not a torso.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, the date I said sound is kaboom. Because action films production is SOS production, and I just randomly wrote
Hey,
violence,
hey, move it a little bit. There you go.
violence, and then the director is Boy Skarsgård,
Is he the
and the
youngest
camera.
guard?
I think so. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure he's the youngest one. So Boy Skarsgård to match his real name and his character name, and then the cameraman is FP Shooter.
First person shooter. I like it.
There we go. I knew you weren't fully retarded.
Hold your tongue and say apple.
Asshole. I remember that. It makes it asshole. That's that grade school trick. Son of a bitch.
Goes back to my nostalgic stuff later.
Anyways, so while we're finishing our special beers here, I wanted to bring up, since these movies have a unique concept to them, what are some like past movies that you found as like a out of the ordinary kind of different style of movie, to where maybe these filmmakers maybe taking a gamble and
Now,
were trying something new.
Are you talking just like filmography or cinematography, or are you talking about story as well?
Both.
Because
Just something out of the ordinary. Because let's face it, most movies, they're pretty common in their own fucking ways. They all follow a certain formula and stuff like that. But then every once in a while we get filmmakers and actors and stuff like that try something completely different. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
So personally, I think the story that was the most like crazy story that I'd never even once would have thought would have been a possible movie was by the beloved Kevin Smith of Tusk.
Hey, my guy. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely a hit and miss with people.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love Kevin Smith. I've watched that movie 2, maybe 3 times now, and I don't know why.
The thing is, the birth of that movie was because of a fucking podcast episode. They were both stoned, and they just said, "Wouldn't this be a cool movie?" Or because they heard a story about somebody forcing them to pretend to be a turtle. I think, like somebody hired them to act like a turtle, and then they got paid and got fed and stuff like that. But they had to be a turtle 100% of the time for like a month or something like that. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but. So then they're just like, well, how this would be a cool horror movie with that. So and then they decided a walrus of all animals, like if somebody made them turn into a walrus, and actually surgically, and the whole conversation's out there online for people from that podcast. It's fucking hilarious. But
that's the one that fit the bill for me for story wise.
That's a good pick, because that is a unique one to where that was a Kevin Smith who. That's usually not an area that he even reaches in the horror or just out of the world type thing. He's more of a dialogue heavy comedic writer.
Yeah, comedy stuff. Yeah. So when it comes to filmography, while it is not considered unique today, when it was released, it was unique, and that's where I would say The Matrix.
Yeah, it was revolutionary for filmmaking for sure. It was like a bridge from the way they used to make movies into what we were going to start making movies into.
Right. Like today, everybody's like, "Oh, Matrix, that's old news." Well, yeah, but at the time, it was hot shit.
Well, and the first Matrix is still good to this day. The first Matrix.
I like all 3 of them.
All 3 of them, but
all 3 of them. But there's 4 of them now.
Right. Well, fuck that 4th one. That one was a pile of garbage, hot shit, donkey dick. But and the sequels, they really don't hold up to this day, especially because they were trying to go extra on the let's see how far we can push this
Oh yeah.
CGI with all the multiple Agent Smiths during that one
Hmm.
big fight scene in the second one.
I mean,
It looks awful now if you look at that.
it does, and the first one is still king. I mean, it is still the best one.
And it's just a good fucking movie. It
It
really
is.
is. Uh, a unique movie for me was Memento. Did you ever see that? It's a
I never
Christopher
saw
Nolan
Memento.
movie. To where it starts at the end of the movie, and we're going backwards,
Okay.
scene for scene.
See, another one like that would be, well, similar to that, kind of like Curious Case of Benjamin Button,
Yeah, where he's
where
I
he
see what you're
starts
saying.
like he's born old, and as he gets older, he gets younger.
Right. But filmmaking wise, the Memento, it literally started you at the end. And this guy, he
Okay.
has short term memory. That's why it worked because he couldn't remember shit that
He
happened.
couldn't remember any of the stuff that just happened.
He literally tattooed notes onto his hand to remember something because he was trying to discover who murdered his wife or something like
Mm.
that. And it was so fucking crazy. And the first time I watched it, it was still during my stoner days, and I was
Okay.
super fucking high. We just got done eating Bud brownies too, so we were like ridiculously high, and we decided to watch this movie called Memento, and we're all sitting there, eyes red as fuck, going, "What the fuck is happening right now? Did we already just see that? Wait a minute, what's going?" And it was mind blowing. Turns out the first time I saw a Christopher Nolan movie was one of his early movies, and I was stoned out of my fucking mind. And it was a night that I'll never forget. And now I always appreciate Christopher Nolan, no matter how confusing his movies get, because he's
Yeah.
got some confusing fucking movies.
Well, and Stanley Kubrick puts out a lot of strange concept movies.
Hmm. Well, another one that I like is the concept of you only have like one or two actors, and it's in one place the whole time,
If
and
you
you
say
come up
phone
with a
booth,
full. No, phone booth is a good one. I like phone booth.
okay. The way you were describing it, I thought you were going to say phone booth. I was like, motherfucker, I have that written down too.
No, it falls in the same category though, because it falls in that with the same category as like 127 hours with the
Yes.
dude with
Yep.
his arm locked in.
But see, that one's
With
based on a true story.
Yeah, okay, well then Buried with Ryan Reynolds, where he's buried alive, and the
I
whole
never
movie takes
watched
place with
that
him
one.
under there.
I remember
That's
the trailer for it,
surprisingly good.
and like it was when he was trying to kind of delve into some serious roles, right?
Yeah, he was trying different shit. This was
Mm-hmm.
obviously an indie movie, you know.
I
And
mean,
but I
it
love
was,
that too, because it saves money to doing these kind of movies. But if you can come
mm-hmm.
up with an hour and a half feature length of just like one location between like one or two
That
people,
saves a ton of money.
that's very impressive if you can have an entertaining movie. Because a lot of them have
Mm-hmm.
failed, but there's been some good ones like Buried, Castaway is another
Cast
example where it's just one dude on an island the whole time talking to a goddamn volleyball.
trying to save all the FedEx packages, and then realizing that okay, I'm not getting saved, so I'm going to start opening the shit.
Right.
And then after he does get saved, he goes and delivers the packages. Well, I
And then there
sent
was a
this.
movie that just came out a couple years ago called Fall. It's where these girls are stuck on this tall ass light pole,
I remember seeing a preview for that, but I never watched the movie.
and they got stuck up there. The whole entire movie is them trying to figure out how they're going to get down,
Mm-hmm.
and it was actually pretty good. And there's actually one coming up starring Bill Skarsgård, who's in
Okay.
Boy Kills World. It's called Locked, to where he's a
Okay.
down on his luck kind of character, and so he's gonna steal a vehicle, to make some money and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets into the wrong vehicle. The vehicle that he gets into locks itself shut. It's bulletproof. It's soundproof. He's literally locked into this car, and
Okay.
and and a voice comes up on the phone inside the car, and the voice is none other than Anthony Hopkins himself.
Nice.
And Anthony Hopkins, yeah, is trying to teach him lessons and stuff while he's locked in this car. And Bill Skarsgård's trying to get out of this, trying to figure it. And it looks fucking awesome. It comes out in theaters this weekend. Unfortunately, my local theater isn't going to get it. Otherwise, I'd be able to get it. But
Well,
it looks
if you haven't watched it
fucking
yet, by
great.
the time you come back to the house, maybe we can have that start off the weekend.
It looks fantastic. But I love those to where because it's budget friendly.
Mm-hmm.
One space, one combined for the most part. This one looks
Well, right.
a little heavy on budget,
But
but just one
literally,
or two actors the entire movie. And
but for the movie you were talking about with Bill Skarsgård, you could literally have a in an interior of a car that the windows are green, and you can have that be your where you shoot. The rest of it can be.
exactly. So I am very excited to see the movie. I've been watching reviews of the movie. For the most part, they've been very positive.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing me, I'm thinking I'm gonna love it because Bill Skarsgård is awesome. Spoiler. I
Oh,
love Bill
I like Bill
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. So another movie I thought of about the unique filming aspect is actually a 1950s western titled I know, right? So it was titled High Noon.
Ah,
So the
I've
big
heard that
thing,
story. Yeah, but
so the big thing about this movie is the time elapsed from the start of the movie to the end of the movie is real time. So like whenever you start the movie, when the movie ends, if it's like I don't remember, I didn't look up how long it was, but like say it's an hour and 20-minute movie,
mm-hmm.
the time elapsed from in the movie was an hour and 20 minutes.
Nice. For some reason that popped in my head because I'm not a big TV show watcher, but a TV show
Mm-hmm.
that I appreciated, I didn't watch, but I appreciated because I love the concept, was
Uh-huh.
24. Because every episode
Mm-hmm.
was real time, each
24
hour of
hours.
that 24 hours that they were doing. I
Okay.
thought that was very fucking cool. Never watched it
So,
because I don't fucking watch TV shows. But
right. Well, and but still it's not an original concept because High Noon did it first, and something may have done it before High
exactly,
Noon,
hell of a
but
concept.
being in the 50s, I don't know if anybody did it before that.
Right, right. But I thought that was a hell of a concept. Kiefer Sutherland, who was also in Phone Booth.
Yeah,
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland, that guy is
Shout
so
out
underrated.
Sony. Right. Lost
So,
Boys, baby.
another movie that I thought cinematically was visually pleasing was Color Out of Space.
I never watched that. I remember when that
Well,
came out.
it's very
And
Lovecraftian. I mean, it is described as a Lovecraftian movie.
right.
It's kind of weird, but the cinematic effects that they do in the movie, outstanding.
And it's probably probably simple effects, just they did it
Probably.
right, is what I'm
Right.
guessing. And that's the thing too, like these filmmakers, they think they need to have a high budget to do some shit. No, you can come up with
Yeah.
cool ass shit. Like I think we could have a badass Batman movie on like $40 million, not 300 million.
Right. You don't need all like it doesn't cost that much for pyrotechnics. You can
Right.
go out to a fucking farm somewhere and they'll let you do the pyrotechnics.
Like Hollywood's going wrong because Hollywood's like, what do we do? Because we're spending all this money on these movies, but nobody's going to them. How about you cut down the budget and get more
Mhm.
creative with it, and
Quit
people actually
spending
go see it?
$400 million on a movie. Give a director, give somebody $100,000. Go make the movie.
Because look how big these movies from these smaller production companies like Neon and A24,
Because
their
they are
movies are successful every single time because it's something new and something original,
they're
and something
putting
creative.
effort into the movie. So like
Mm-hmm. Not just what's going
I'm
to make
sorry,
some
hundred
money.
dropping it down to $100,000 from a $400 million budget, not likely. Make them do it in 10 million.
Right.
Make them figure it out.
Hell, I mean, Hardcore Henry, it looked like it had a lot of visual effects and stuff like that. It was a $2 million budget.
It's pretty good.
Like, whether you like the movie or not, like that $2 million budget, that's worth the gamble.
Absolutely. And I bet it made a lot more than that.
Yeah. Because it's because of this goddamn buzzer beater. But yeah, it was just straight up a sour ale. There wasn't anything unique to it. It wasn't nothing new, nothing original.
There
So I'll
was
just
no unique New York.
no. I like the label for it because I love basketball, but there was no unique flavor. It was just straight up sour. So I'll just give my rating to like what I would give a rating to a generic sour beer, which is 3. I'll give it a 3.
3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like sour beers, but I'm not gonna fucking chug them all night.
Right. Sour beers are one of those that have too much sugar in it for me. So
Yeah. I'll wake
so
up with diabetes.
for mine, thank you, producer. But I did read my can again, and the producer asked what I thought IPA stood for, and said to read the can again. So India Pale Ale.
Mm-hmm.
So IPA might be an acronym for India Pale Ale.
Possibly, sir.
I mean, it is an
It might
acronym,
be.
whether it is or isn't. But
No, it is India
it
Pale.
actually wasn't bad. I'm giving it a 3 as well. So I have a feeling that the IPAs are growing on me a little bit. They're not as harsh as they were originally, but it's still not. I would. I'm always willing to try a beer one time.
Yeah, there we go. There's the cue. There's the cue. So the first movie we're going to talk about tonight is good old Boy Kills World. Came out last year. Well, it did a small festival run in 2023 before it got its national release in
Mhm.
2024. So this movie it was made for a while before it fucking got into circulation, I would say. But yeah, it stars good old Bill Skarsgård, Mr. Pennywise himself, Mr. Count Orlok himself. Somebody who does great performances under makeup and also does great performances without makeup, like he did in the movie Villains. If
Mhm.
anybody out there has seen that, fantastic fucking movie. He made a special appearance in Deadpool 2.
He
Remember
was in
him in
Deadpool too.
Deadpool 2? Yeah, he was one of the recruitments that they brought in.
Okay, I don't remember that part. Was it a very
Yeah.
quick, like a cameo?
Yeah, he had a decent, like during that whole montage of recruiting people, he was somebody that officially got recruited in. And when they're skydiving and stuff, he dies. you know,
Okay, all right, all right.
so it was a much longer cameo appearance than Brad Pitt's was in Deadpool 2. Remember that
Yeah, yeah.
when he's an Invisible Man and he gets electrocuted, and you see Brad Pitt's face for like 2.5 seconds.
Oh, I did not know that was Brad Pitt.
Yeah, that was Brad Pitt. Yeah, they actually brought him in for that. Ryan Reynolds was like, you think we could actually get Brad Pitt? And Brad Pitt was game for
Nice.
his 2.5 second fucking cameo.
Hell yeah.
They had to do a full day with him to get that fucking short little shot.
It was worth it. So
Mhm.
I did try to start my first watch reaction videos this week. We're not going to release them because I got a little work to do on them before I'm ready to release a reaction video, and I'm using it to hone my editing skills. So
Yes, 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 yes.
one thing I said while I was preparing for the first watch is like my history on Boy Kills World. So I remember when it came. I remember it being released and coming out, but I
So
didn't
you
see
heard of
any.
this movie?
I had heard of the movie.
A lot of people haven't even heard of this fucking movie
Well,
before
and that
because the marketing was funky.
I'm not surprised people haven't heard of it because I remember hearing about the movie, but I never saw a trailer. I didn't know anything about it, so I just assumed it was going to be a big old flop that just wasn't worth the time of day to watch. So when you picked this movie last week, this is the first time on a first watch that I watched a trailer because what we did is we watched the trailer for Hardcore Henry and the trailer for Boy Kills World to see which movie
Getting an
we
idea
wanted
of
to
what
watch.
you're getting into. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
To kind of get an idea of what you're getting into there a little bit.
Well, just to see which movie we wanted to try and watch first, because I mean, we our schedule is like Monday nights are the time we have a little more time to watch movie.
Mhm.
Wednesday nights, it's like okay, I gotta get the movie in so I can be ready for Friday.
So you watched that because I'll backtrack a little bit on past episodes. You didn't even watch the trailer for Pull All Junkies. You
I
just
did
went
not.
into that blind. But for some reason you decided to watch the trailers to see.
Well,
But I know you
I,
heard of Hardcore Henry before. You knew the concept of it.
and I'd already seen the trailer for it. I mean, whenever it was coming out, I saw the trailer. Oh, we'll get into that later. But
No.
I did watch the trailer to Boy Kills World, and when we got done, I turned to the producer and I was like, "Why did I never watch this movie?" Like the trailer was intriguing.
When you learn that fucking Butcher is the goddamn inner monologue.
Right.
I
So,
never even looked up his goddamn name. What the fuck is that voice actor's name?
um, his name
I thought
is
I would have done that, but I did not.
well, hold on, here we go. H. John Benjamin.
Never would have guessed that name in a million fucking years.
I know,
H.
like,
John Benjamin? Sounds like somebody that signed the Declaration of Independence.
so
H.
right.
John Benjamin.
Well, let's see what else he's been in. He has been in. So he's most known for Bob's Burgers, Archer. He was in Wet Hot American Summer, and Not Another
He
Teen
was a
Movie are his top
modern
four.
day voice actor.
He's a great voice actor.
Mhm.
So
There's even a nod to him in this movie. It's for because the reason why Bill Skarsgård is here in this voice instead of his own voice is because it's the voice from a video game that him and his sister played, and it was supposed to be the most badass voice that you ever hear from Super Dragon. So that's the inner monologue that he hears
hold
from,
on.
and it is a badass
So
voice.
so was Super Dragons a real game? And was he
No,
the
it's not a
voice
real game.
actor? Okay, I didn't figure it was. I thought they were
No,
playing off of Double Dragon.
that is exactly what Super Dragon is a play off of Double Dragon,
Okay,
not even copyright issues, just because they wanted to find the reason why they were hearing Bob's Burgers' voice instead of Bill Skarsgård's voice,
right.
which I thought it was an amazing fucking touch. That's one of the,
Hmm.
I love Bill Skarsgård. I love the action sequences. I love how bloody and gory this movie is. But honestly, my favorite thing about this movie is that it's fucking Bob's Burgers. It's just the inner monologue
I ne-
of Bill Skarsgård.
I never watched Bob's Burgers. Like I tried and I couldn't get into it.
Oh, really? Okay, well then the inner monologue of Archer or the Arby's guy.
Oh,
Which one do you
Archer.
know? Archer is your
Archer.
best reference point. Okay, I'll
I
say the
love
Archer
Archer.
guy from now on then,
No,
instead of Bill
you can
Bob's
call it Bob's Burgers guy. I know who you're talking about.
Burgers.
Like,
He does have a distinct fucking voice too. And
mhm. I do think that my favorite part about this movie was how unique the kills were.
yeah,
I don't
they
know
were
that
they
there. I
were
mean,
they were unique because they're both comedic and gory at the same
well,
fucking
right.
time.
Like there was. I would say there was 80 to 85% of the kills that were extremely unique. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say that because there was a lot of randos that got killed that were just killed with a gun.
Yeah, but like their main climactic kills on
Right.
certain characters.
The meaningful kills were all, I would say, 85% were unique.
Mhm. The voice though, one of my favorite lines in this movie is the inner monologue, and he's doing the video games where player two has entered the game, or
Right.
players fight. My favorite
Round
thing is
three.
though is player two is fucking crazy. Was my favorite one when they're fighting dude where he dislocated his jaw and dude puts it back down and he says player two is fucking crazy.
What
The guy that
was
ripped
that?
his own goddamn arm off.
I was gonna say that was the guy that kept coming back to life, right? And kept
Yeah,
spraying something to keep him going.
yeah. And then he had his arm caught in the shit and fucking ripped it off.
Whenever he did that, I was like, "Tis but a scratch."
I'm not surprised. I love how Chris Skarsgård's character's name is Boy too. So he
Right.
never learned his name. Don't know
Never
the
got a
sound of
name.
his own voice. And I also love this character because he's a violent badass, but he's also like he's got this childlike thing to him, to where you get to watch him discover new things, like when he's eating that fucking macaroons or whatever, and he's fucking lighting up like a Christmas tree, and he's
So
discovering new things. That's why I
correct.
love Bill Skarsgård because he can look very serious and intimidating, and he can also look like a fucking man child going, "Hey, I got some new food."
So
Like,
to our buddy that doesn't think that Bill's a good actor, I will just point to the scene that where so one of the funniest things is whenever he reads lips because he can't hear. And one of the funniest scenes is whenever uh, the other guy on his team, I don't know if he's speaking another language or what, but everything he says is just gibberish. He's just like it's just all different words. And
well, the gibberish they're doing too, it's like maple back and freaking all stuff. It's just weird.
right, but like so he's sitting there, and whenever his two team members are talking about the plan, they're talking, and you can see Bill in the background just sitting there trying to read
I
the
figured it
like
out.
he is legit acting like he can't hear and trying to read like he's making sure he can see their lips when they're talking.
And he's showing every single emotion that he's doing it. He's like, do I have to act happy? Do I have to act sad? Do I have
Right.
to... Okay.
I think he did a great job in this movie.
Oh yeah, like even when I like when he's talking to his little sister that he's like seeing.
His
He even like
his imaginary sister.
yeah, he even like flexes on her like while the inner monologue is getting louder too. I'm just like, that's convincing. Yeah, you are good, sir. You are fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Like
Spoiler alert, everybody.
he should have won an actor
Anytime
for that or an Oscar for that acting job.
someday Bill Skarsgård will get a fucking
I
Oscar.
just hope he's not like the next Leo because Leo deserved an Oscar way earlier than he got it.
Yeah, well, it's in a good graves when Leo deserved an Oscar. Damn
I know.
it. But it took 20 plus years later for him to actually get one.
Right. Back on Boy Kills World though. Whenever the first time, so the digital mask on that girl, badass.
That was a nice touch.
That was pretty cool. And
okay, did you? Okay, I'm gonna ask first. When we first met the girl, June 27 is her name. Did you automatically know that was his sister?
that's actually a great segue into what I was getting ready to talk about because at first I was like, oh, this girl's kind of a badass. And whenever it was not the last scene, but right before they started to fight each other, I was like, I turned to the producer, my wife, and I was like, I bet this is his sister. And she was like, well, no, we saw his sister die. And I said, no, we never saw her die. She's like, well, he did. Yes, but we never saw her die. And so I was like, I bet this is his sister.
My initial reaction was going to be, how can you not immediately know that is his sister? That was not a fucking plot twist. The second we had a female fighting and stuff like that, I was like, that's his sister. That's his sister. Not to quote Joe Dirt, you're my sister. You're my sister.
But like, and then a little bit later, there was the other twist that I did not see coming at all. I did not know Femke Janssen was his mom. That one blew my mind. And then
I questioned it, but I didn't think too much into it until they revealed it. And I was like, okay.
But then the other thing that almost never happens is another plot twist that I didn't see coming was when he was the family being shot. It was actually the shaman's family being shot, and the shaman was actually the bad guy the whole time.
Right, yeah. For the guns, their epic battle scene.
Like it's very rare that two plot twists happen that I don't at least see or have a inkling of it coming.
That's crazy because this movie isn't supposed to be twist filled. I don't think. I think it's supposed to be more of a popcorn, turn your brain off, go in, and they were just throwing in some wrenches here and there, to kind of throw you off a little bit or to make you think.
And let's be honest,
when you're watching an entertainment movie like this, you're not worried about trying to figure out what the storyline is. You're just like, oh, what badass shit we got up coming up next.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and to be honest, let's be honest. The shaman technically wasn't the bad guy because his family is the one that got killed for no reason.
Oh yeah, there was this one of those where you had one good guy and multiple groups of bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And but the exciting thing was him uniting with his sister, June 27th. I love their names, by the way. We have Boy and June 27th.
Right.
It was the character names.
Well, and the other thing that's crazy is like they could have even had the inner monologue Archer voice talk about this being a story of vengeance at the beginning of the movie. And you never would have known it was the shaman's vengeance that was being executed.
Right, yeah. Because we got to see the way he was raised and Famke Jensen's character, the actual mom, was the villain.
Mm-hmm.
I love when he lopped off the person at the table. He thought that he's like, player one wins when he did chicken halfway through.
I think my
Yeah,
favorite, I think my favorite scene though was what was it, the Frosty Loops or whatever the cereal commercial
yeah.
was. That was the basis of the culling, and that's how they were killing all the people was with the fucking cereal characters.
You're right.
I will tell you, probably one of my favorite original kills. Well, I'm gonna call it original kill. I felt like it was an original kill. Was when he killed the lady with the fucking camera.
I was gonna ask. No, I was gonna predict that was gonna be
That was
something
awesome.
super
Like
like.
there was a lot of original kills in this movie, but that was my favorite.
There was some cringy fucking like not kills, but just moments. During the final battle with the
With
dude
the
there
shaman.
when him and his when he takes the nail and it's grinding up the fucking leg, like slicing up the
Oh
leg and slicing up the
yeah.
arm and stuff. I was like, stop!
What
Somebody stop him, please.
was this the movie that they used the cheese grater to fucking kill people with? That made me cringe a few times.
Ridiculous. And I love the sister though. She was used to like my lady's chicken twinkle with a fat butt, but this tight little tiny little thing with the helmet that said logos, and then she took it off. She had the cool Stegosaurus fucking hairdo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this chick needs to marry me so she can also protect me too at the same time. Well, I'm glad they didn't kill her off too. I was afraid she was gonna die. Well, I'm glad that I
Well,
assume at the end of the
and
movie
then
that they go off and get to be brother and sister.
did you not see the post credit scene?
And then stick around for the post credit scene.
Well, there was a post credit scene.
Does it reveal what happens to them?
I wouldn't say reveals what happens to them, and I don't want to give it away to you.
I'm reviewing it. Fucking say it.
All right, so they were in a house that had been overgrown by like it was an overgrown house,
Mm-hmm.
obviously in the middle of nowhere, and they were eating the cereal that was like they were just sitting there eating the cereal. They were both together, so they both survived. How did you not stick around for the post credit scene, dude?
I don't know, because I had such a good time watching the movie that where I was just like, yes.
I mean, it was more than likely their childhood home that they were sitting at the table just eating the cereal.
Like we got to see in their flashbacks and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. But they were both fully healthy and like just happy.
Before we rate, what'd you think of Famke Jansen's fucking death? Like I didn't. That was one thing I didn't see coming. Where the sister was like, "Oh, that's my brother, and you're the mom," and then all of a sudden, it wasn't even like a dramatic like slow mo or anything. It was just snap, bam, right upside
I
her
was
fucking head, dead.
I mean, we already knew that she was kind of going crazy. I was not expecting the just quick turn and smash, but
Smash, and you're done. No build up, just you're done.
I mean, Famke Janssen is one of my favorite actresses. honestly.
She's
But
awesome.
I
She's
was
awesome.
not expecting that death.
I love her as a hermaphrodite in the show Nip Tuck.
Mm-hmm.
Ever watch that? That was
I
a show I
watched a
did
little
watch.
bit. Honestly, I bought the first season because I knew she was in it, and I was hoping she'd get naked. Question: do you want to review
Mhm.
first, or do you want me to review first?
I give her my review first
Okay.
because, like I said, it was my favorite movie of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Does that give it a Miss Davis? Not quite. Not quite. It knocked on the door of a Miss Davis. So I did have a lot of fun in this movie, but there are moments that, like, a perfect 10 for me is where it has me sucked in all the whole runtime.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple moments where I kind of did some stuff or whatever, especially Bill Skarsgård and and his sister, who's a tiny little hottie.
Right.
but this is also fun, fantastic, turn your fucking nagana popcorn flick. Even though there's some twists and turns on the storyline, but I mean, are they really that exciting when you find out?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. Yeah, no. They're kind of like, if you think about it, you can see them coming from a mile away. So, but and just the stylized action, the gore, the violence. But my number one overall favorite thing about this movie is that this movie would have been great if it had Bill Skarsgård as his inner monologue, but they got fucking Bob's Burgers instead,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yep.
is fucking really fucking accelerated for me. That's my favorite fucking thing about this movie.
He's a
Because we
great
get to
voice.
hear him fucking his not inner monologue throughout the whole movie. Fucking fantastic. So I'm gonna give it that good old 9.
Hmm.
Good old niner.
All right.
Walkie talkie niner.
Did I hear a niner in there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I know that we're not going to release the my first watch video. That was my first watch video ever because it's rough. Nobody wants to watch that. But in that, I talked about how, and I may have mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I don't. There wasn't a lot of hype around this movie when it came out. I remember seeing it on the
So you weren't going into this overhyped or underhyped.
no. I
You just
remember
should go
seeing
fucking.
I remember seeing the that it was at the Wichita theaters, but it never really intrigued me. There like I had not seen any trailers on it just didn't really jump out to me. And whenever I watched the trailer right before we were watching it this week, I was like, I made a mistake. I needed to watch this movie because this movie. I mean, I love myself some action flicks,
Right.
and it literally made me regret not going to see it in theater.
That would have been a fun theater experience.
It
I'm sad I didn't get to see it in theater too.
so then during the course of the movie, as I was going back to edit my first watch that will not be released, I I was transfixed a good portion of the movie. Like I was like I we talked about it a little bit, and there was just a lot of things on it. I know you're still waiting on my first Miss Davis.
I'm still gonna wait on.
This one was close, but it's not there yet. It is a great movie. The 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 cinematography, the acting, all of it was great. But it's not in that echelon of can just go watch again anytime I want to. Anytime I'm not sure what to watch, that's what I'm going to go watch. So this one for me gets a 9.
Yes.
So we actually have the same rating on our movies as we do our beers so far. That leads us into our next movie.
Yeah, Hardcore Henry. The reason why I picked this movie is because it kind of coincides with a unique concept. Because this movie takes place entirely through first person, through
Mm-hmm.
through this Henry character who is half man, half machine.
Yep.
He's
Allah.
RoboCop. Ah, see, like I was gonna compliment your RoboCop shirt earlier just because I love RoboCop, but now I understand why. Yeah,
There was
you wrote
reasoning
that shirt.
behind this shirt tonight.
Nice.
So this movie, while it had a lot of nonstop action, I feel like it struggled to find a plot.
I think they were trying too hard for a plot in this movie.
But you never
Like
really got.
I thought the concept itself would have been fun enough
Mhm.
of him just going around killing people and give us a loose plot like, oh, he's gonna go rescue like his girlfriend. So
Right.
we're gonna go through an adventure of him killing all these random people
Mm-hmm.
and to go find the final boss, aka Bowser,
Right.
is what I consider him as. We're gonna go save the princess. That's what this
Right.
movie should have been.
So this movie to me felt like it was trying to take the best parts of about 15 movies and try to make their own movie, and they lost the ability to find a plot in the middle of it.
Yeah, it definitely got convoluted throughout the movie.
Because they were
I
trying to
mean,
do Matrix, they were trying to do RoboCop, they were trying to do there was just a lot of things they could have cleaned up that you could have found out the plot prior to what, like if you didn't read the synopsis, you could have found out the plot prior to an hour and a half into the movie.
right. Which the reason I picked this movie is because the whole entire film is first person,
Mm-hmm.
which any gamer is familiar with. So I figured anybody that's played some first person shooters would be okay with this movie. I can see how it has mixed reaction though, because not
Mm-hmm.
everybody's into either first person or even found footage. You know,
Right.
to where you get a lot of fucking wonky shit.
So I feel like they. So I feel like the right way to do, if you're gonna throw first person into a movie, the right way to do it is how they did the Doom movie with Dwayne Johnson.
To where you only had like one full scene of it, and
Right.
then
Like you had the
the
movie,
rest of it.
and then at the end of the movie, it's like, oh, we're gonna go into our first person shooter, and we're gonna go play like the game. The
Right.
entire movie was a little much.
But see, that Doom movie though sucked. Besides
I
that scene,
loved that Doom movie.
did you?
I did.
I thought it was crap. I thought it was, and I
What?
love Carl Urban. I love Carl Urban.
Carl
He's
Urban's pretty
another
cool.
one. He's another one.
Pretty
He's gonna
cool.
be the new Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
So let's talk
yeah.
about that later. Um, what I was most frustrated by in this movie is you literally had a ton of action scenes. That was great. I loved the action scenes. But you ended up having this guy that kind of like Halo doesn't know where he's from, doesn't know what he's doing, and all of a sudden is getting activated. He's got this wife that is telling him he's his wife and wants you to put on your wedding ring and do everything for you. Come to find out, she's a bitch. Um,
Right.
I don't. I'm not sure why you would just sit there and have the god dang the guy that you never get to see
Mhm.
just sit there and follow the directions of this girl.
One, he's completely clueless because he's clueless when he wakes up. The only thing he knows is his lady. But
Right.
now he's all of a sudden half man, half machine.
And just like Total Recall, that's what they were trying to make you think.
Right.
they tried to put too many movies together in this one to try and make a feature film, which this one I saw previews for. And when I heard it was all first person view, I was kind of turned off from it.
I get that. It's not for everybody. It's not.
But it's
That's
an
why I
action
like
movie.
the gamble that these filmmakers did with this is to do
It
that.
was a gamble.
Everybody just
Oh,
like
I'm glad I didn't watch
fucking
this in theater because if I watched this in theater, I would have hated it. Watching it on
right.
my 60-inch TV. Okay, yeah, I'm still feeling a little lightheaded, but I'm not at a theater where I'm like,
Because I know you play first person video games, so I
oh,
was like,
absolutely.
okay, Colonel will be okay with this thing because it's like him playing a video game, but you have no control over the guy.
Right.
But
When you have control over where you're looking, it's different than when you don't have control because you don't know where you're getting ready to look next.
and that's what made me watch the movie though. It's like, okay, I get to watch this unique concept. But the only thing that really kept me into it was the one actor playing so many different
Right.
characters.
Jimmy.
I was excited to see who he's going to play next. And I loved all the different violence. Like there was a
Mhm.
lot of cool kills, a lot of cool
There
violence.
was.
You had your parkour elements too.
Oh God. It felt like
Some good
so
old parkour.
you bring up the parkour, like it seemed like half the movie Abby and I were sitting there my wife and I were sitting there saying, Parkour! Parkour!
Yeah, yeah,
Just like in
yeah.
the office.
Office fans. Yeah, Office fans. Of course.
Like I'm sitting there like,
They
okay,
told me jump from one ledge to another. Parkour.
it feels like some people just decided they wanted to go record a parkour movie and literally just found budget somehow and wanted to go record on a GoPro.
That would have been a cool movie too, to where if we were behind the eyes of a parkour guy who was just filming some parkour stuff, but then all of a sudden got intertwined with some like maybe some mafia shit or
Mm-hmm.
something, and then we get to see that would have been a cool storyline too. So
Probably would have been a better storyline because it would have a storyline.
yeah, yeah, exactly. This storyline is so convoluted. Like I really don't even know what the storyline of this movie fucking was.
Oh, I called the girl that said she was like, whenever we were watching it, I called that they were going to be married, and then whenever he found her and she wasn't hurt and she was just in this box, I was like, she's part of it.
Absolutely.
I immediately knew like there was they didn't try to hide any of it. It was I don't know.
My complaint with this movie is that the cinematography and all that was great because of the point of view, and they did. I thought they did the point of view right. We got to see some cool violence, got to see some cool special effects shit.
Hold on, did
Like
you
my
say this
favorite.
is a complaint?
No, this is the reason why I like this movie. Like
Okay.
my favorite scene in this movie is towards the end where he's climbing up floating bodies to jump on the helicopter at the very end. I
Right.
thought that scene was fucking cool as shit.
Well, and that's again. So they brought the Matrix in there. They brought in RoboCop at the beginning. They brought in Halo at the beginning. Like they were taking the best parts of of all these different franchises and trying to piece together a movie that they didn't have a plot for.
Right. I think this movie would have been a lot better with a lot less storyline. If it would have been more straightforward, we're going point A to point B.
With less storyline? Like they
Yeah.
needed more. They needed a storyline.
I think it would have been cooler with him not even being half machine. Just a dude, a parkour guy, waking up, doing some parkour shit, chasing after his girl that was kidnapped. And between the whole movies, we get to see some cool shit. He's fucking snapping some necks like Steven Seagal.
Right.
He's doing some crazy ass shit. Like I could even been fine without the supernatural or the levitation shit. That'd been
The
fine.
telekinesis.
Yeah, all that, whatever. It's just,
Right.
I think the movie still could have been cool. Just watching him killing some people, venturing on for an hour and a half, going through, figuring out a way, and keeping that same actor. Like I said, we keep the because that's what I liked was the same actor doing 30 different fucking roles. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Well, and
That
that's
was
the actor
great.
that was the one that got killed by the Vice in the previous movie.
Yeah, he got killed real quick, and boy kills world. This one, He gets killed a lot, but he's
Right.
in the movie a lot.
So
too.
I wish I would have looked how many times he got killed, because like literally he got killed a lot. And like the first time I was like, oh, they paid this guy the most to be in 30 seconds of the movie. And then literally right after I said that, he shows up again.
I was about to say it too. I was like, damn, they already killed him off. I liked him, and then he shows up again. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, I see what they're doing.
At least they
Okay.
paid that off. Like, because again, that was Battlestar Galactica. The Cylons have their clones.
All right. Oh, look at you, your sci-fi nerd ass.
Oh, I know.
Fuck
Like
it.
the action scenes in this movie were almost nonstop, and that was great. Because I love action. I love
Mhm.
I love action movies. I love
Yeah.
getting that.
I love action movies so much to where I don't need a fucking story. Just show me some
I
cool shit.
I still need a story though. I'm a reader.
I need a
I
little
need a
bit. I need
story.
a little bit. Well, it's just like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Raw Deal or whatever that fucking movie was, where he's literally just trying to go save his daughter. That's the whole fucking plot. This could have been the same plot, but through the point of view of Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Mhm.
just trying to go and rescue his daughter. You know, we didn't need to convolute it with all these random different storylines. Am I good? Am I bad? Why am I half machine? Why am I half man? It was, it was just, it was too little all over the place for me. But I do have fun watching this movie, though. That's why I suggested it, because I
Well,
do love
and
watching the cool shit from a first person point of view.
for me, the only thing that kept this thing out of the dumpster was that it was action and it still
Mm.
had fun stuff. So I'll review this movie first because
Okay.
it, if like I said, it felt like some guys went together on a weekend and threw together some footage.
Mm. It's a low budget film,
Well,
so it was worth the risk, I would say.
and I think I bet they made their budget back and more
I'm pretty sure
probably
they did.
because it was a pretty big hit. The critics
And if
loved
you
it.
look at all the different reviews and stuff like that, it's literally 50-50 across the board. Some
Well,
people
right,
love
like
it, some people didn't give a fuck about it.
right. But the problem I had with this movie is I don't care what I don't care what you're putting out there. Give me some sort of storyline and give me a payoff. If you're gonna make it a slow burn and not give me the story until the end, that's fine. Make it a payoff. I don't feel like I got a payoff in this movie.
Right.
The movie was an action film. An action film I'm probably not gonna give under a 5 unless it's fucking awful.
Okay.
This movie had enough for me to give it a 5. I didn't give it less.
Oh, you're meeting in the middle there?
It got a 5 from me just because there was no storyline, but there was great the action scenes were amazing. The cinematography was great. However, you still got to put a story with your cinematography.
But I'm kind of along the same way with you though. The storyline could have been a hell of a lot better. I appreciate the filmmakers for what they did with this. They tried something different, and it was fun. Like we
Trying
got some
something
kids,
different is always hard.
especially doing it from the point of view of somebody, and you're doing that and half man half machine. That's speaking my language, being a Terminator fan. I love that shit. But yeah, the storyline got convoluted, and there was no rescuing the princess because the princess ended up being bad, and it was just so fucking weird and so convoluted. To speak in a sports term, I have to give it slightly above 500.
Okay.
I have to I I could watch this if it's on TV. I'm not gonna purposely play it, but if somebody's watching it, I'm like, you're about to see some cool shit. So I have to give it a solid 6 out
All
of
right.
10.
Well, we were very close to having a whole episode of
Mirroring,
agreeing.
mirroring, yeah.
At some
I
point,
can
we're
give
going
it
to have an
slightly above
episode.
5 because I did have fun with this movie, so I have to give it
Well,
above 5.
It was I will call it a fun watch because it was action movies are always a fun watch.
But a one-time watch.
But it's only a one-time watch for me.
Mm.
So, I think that brings
All
us
right.
to the conclusion of the episode, correct?
Yes. So you get to reveal what we're doing next week, sir.
All right. So, what we're going to do next week, I'm going to put some pause in between when I say this because I don't remember if I said it
Of
or not.
course you are.
Well, I'm going to put pause before and after for an easy cut.
Okay.
In case I said it before, I'm going to give my
Mhm.
hint again,
Okay.
and then I will continue on. So, I am going to pick two movies that are very nostalgic movies,
Mm-hmm.
and they both have a fancy flyer.
Mm-hmm. Radio Flyer?
So, the movies that we will be reviewing next week will be Land Before Time and Fern Gully.
Oh my god. The way you're like hyping it up did not sound like Land Before Time and Fern Gully.
But Land Before Time has Petrie, and Fern Gully, they're all fairies, so they all fly.
No, it's fine. It's a pair of fucking animated films. I'm sure our friend niece is gonna be stoked about that. She loves Land
I'm
Before
interested to
Time and Fern Gully.
I'm interested to see your reviews on them because
I haven't watched Land Before Time since I was a kid, and I can't remember if I've ever even seen Fern Gully or not. So,
it's a great movie.
all right, well, stay tuned next week for Land Before Time and Fern Gully. That's gonna okay.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna blow your mind.
We'll see. We'll see when reviews are, because I don't remember how I feel about either one of them. So
They are nostalgic.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
well, we all love nostalgia.
There are going to be some voice actors you did not expect.
I do like that. I'm not even gonna look them up. I'm just gonna let you surprise me on these voice actors here. All right, cool. We'll tune in next week for that. Maybe tell your kids to tune in next week.
Maybe.
We'll
see.
I
mean, we'll try to keep it PG, but we probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, we do drink alcohol and speak our minds a little too much, but I have been Faye.
I have been the Colonel.
And this has been Sons of Screens. We don't really have a sign off yet, so
Peace.
Eat a dick.